The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolangatta Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolangatta Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolangatta Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolangatta Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational
We commence with the today with the judging of our junior lead heifer classes. Class 12, junior lead or lead heifer, weighing between 325 and 400 kilograms. There are 35 entries in this class, the first class of the day, a big class. And our judge this morning is Mr. Craig Price. Craig's had 28 years with Kilcoy Global Foods. Well, before that it was a Kilcoy Pastoral Company, but Kilcoy Global Foods now. A large exporting company, as you would all know, up there in the Somerset region at Kilcoy, and a very experienced cattle judge. Ready to go? Yes, parade them please. Just a reminder to our exhibitors, the dress requirement is for either dust coats or breed uniform, not school uniforms, dust coat or breed uniform for exhibitors in the ring here today. Thank you. Just a note to our breed representatives, the Ken McDonald Shield, which is judged tomorrow, which is for a group of 3 purebred steers representing a breed. We must have your nominations in before judging commences tomorrow. The nomination forms are here at the tent, so breed representatives, if you've picked your team, if you'd like to come and collect a form and fill it in for us so that we can get that set up before judging starts tomorrow morning. Tough class to start on first up for our judge. Result now of Class 12, junior lead heifer weighing between 325 and 400 kilograms. First place goes to catalogue number 1233, a speckled park exhibited by Mackenzie Black. Second to catalogue number 1219, a Limousine, exhibited by Cody Payne and M&P O'Dwyer. Third to catalogue number 1206, a Limousine exhibited by Proston State High School. Fourth to catalogue number 1217, a Limousine Cross exhibited by Scott's All Saints College. Fifth to catalogue number 1209, a Limousine exhibited by Rockhampton Grammar School. Sixth to catalogue number 1220, if I can get the page to turn over, there it is, a Limousine exhibited by Minto Crag Pastoral Company. Seventh to catalogue number 1211, a Limousine exhibited by Boonah State High School. And eighth to catalogue number 1208, a Charolais Cross exhibited by Clairview Charolais. We'll ask our judge, Mr. Craig Price, to comment on his selections in that first class.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. And yeah, I'd just like to take this opportunity of thanking the RNA of inviting me here to judge today. So it's always a privilege and pleasure to judge at the ECA. So thank you for everyone. Tough class to start with. Yeah, those 35 heifers, as they all sort of came into the ring, sort of took a bit of sorting, but I think we got there in the end. The heifer in first place, I think, what I'm looking for today is, cattle that have got, good evenness and muscle. Like, we're looking for a good expression of muscle, good evenness of muscle, plenty of meat yield, softness, evenness of fat coverage, and that's the things we're looking for. So I think this heifer in top here, I think she did catch my eye as she first came into the ring. She's a heifer that's got, you're looking behind her, she's got plenty of meat, plenty of thickness, and she's even all the way through that loin. Like, your loins are your most valuable cut, so you want something that's got plenty of muscle through that loin area, and that heifer's got plenty of that all the way through. So I think she was pretty well a standout in the class. Taking nothing away from the second heifer, again, beautiful, even heifer. Like, she's, again, caught my eye as she came into the ring. She's even from top to bottom, front to back. She's got that real good. You get behind her and you see the thickness through the rump. Probably just didn't have the overall muscling that the top heifer had, but, she would have stood up in any class. As we go down the list here, I mean, again, a lot of these heifers are all very similar. You could have had 5 judges and they could have all placed them 5 different ways. But as I saw them today, again, looking for that evenness of muscle, evenness of fat coverage, softness, they're all the same. They probably just, as you go down the line, probably not quite as well muscled and the yield that the heifers above them had. The little grey heifer here was an interesting one. Again, a heifer that caught my eye when she first came in the ring. Just felt she was sort of just probably not quite got the yield that that live to dead yield we're looking for. She just sort of carried a bit of belly to her. So, but even still, like a very, very good carcass. And again, the next 4 heifers, very, very similar heifers. They could have been switched around, but again, just good even heifers, plenty of muscle. But again, just not as much as we go down the line. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much, Craig. Exhibitors will require these heifers out of this class. We'll require for the junior judging later on this afternoon. Catalogue numbers 1203, 1215, 1223 and 1230. If you could have those cattle available for the junior judging this afternoon. We move on now to class 13. Junior lead heifer weighing between 400 and
Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent.
Result now of Class 13. Junior lead heifer weighing between 401 and 460 kilograms. First goes to catalogue number 1305, a limousine exhibited by Cody Payne. Second to catalogue number 1301, a limousine cross exhibited by Tenterfield High School. Third to catalogue number 1308, a limousine cross exhibited by Minto Craig Pastoral and Shakriva Show Steers. And fourth to catalogue number 1303, a limousine exhibited by Rockhampton Grammar School. For his comments now on Class 13, our judge again, Craig Price.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Again, just sort of going on from the last class, I suppose what I'm looking for, and hopefully you can sort of see a bit of a pattern is, that evenness sort of from front to back. All in all, a very, very tidy class of heifers here. I mean, to get that fourth took a bit of taking because there was sort of another couple of heifers at the back there that it was literally a toss of the coin. So, but coming back to the first place heifer, I think it's a heifer again. You look at her, whichever angle you look at her, you can see again what I'm looking for, that thickness right through the backbone, thickness through the hind quarter. She's very even. She's got just the right amount of fat cover. You see as she walks there, she's just full of meat. So, I think she's a heifer that's going to yield and hang up very, very well. Heifer in second again, very, very even. You can see she's as smooth. Just probably not the muscle pattern that the top heifer had. You can see she's very consistent and very even, but just not that overall thickness through the hind quarter that the top heifer had. Heifer in third, again, very, very similar to the second heifer. Just felt she was probably carrying a little bit more fat than the other two heifers. So, in these domestic sort of lighter classes, we're conscious of, the heifers of having too much fat. That domestic market doesn't need too much fat coverage. So, we've got to be careful of that. But, a heifer that's, again, smooth, even, and going to sort of yield very, very well. Heifer in fourth here, again, it sort of was a bit of a toss-up between the black and the speckle and this heifer here. I end up going for this heifer again. I felt she sort of had that thickness through the hind quarter. Probably the only thing that she didn't have above, like I just felt she didn't have that evenness of muscling through. She sort of just dips away a little bit in around that loin area. But, you look at her from behind and she's a very, very tidy heifer all the same. So, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Craig. We move on now to the last of our junior lead heifer classes, Class 14. Lead heifer weighing between 461 and 530 kilograms. Again, there are 9 entries in the class. as this is the last of our junior female classes, junior heifer classes. We would like the first and second place getters from the first two classes to be standing by to come forward for championship judging. So that'll be catalogue numbers 1233 and 1305, as well as the second place getters from those two classes, 1219 and 1301. If you could come to the marshalling area, thank you. From this class, we will require the following heifers for the young judges, the inter-school young judges competition a little bit later on. Catalogue numbers 1401, 1402, 1405 and 1408. Those 4 heifers will be required for the junior judges competition later on in the day. Result now of class 14, junior lead heifer weighing between 461 and 530 kilograms. First place goes to catalogue number 1407, a limousine exhibited by Hudson O'Dwyer and D&S Riley. Second to catalogue number 1406, a limousine cross exhibited by Pompey Laney and Archie Evans and United Livestock. Third to catalogue number 1404, a limousine exhibited by Scott's All Saints College. And fourth to catalogue number 1403, a limousine exhibited by Bundaberg Christian College. We'll ask our judge again, Craig Price, for his comments. That's the other way. It must have.
Okay, I'm going to sound a bit like I'm repeating myself, but I think the heifer that won this class, I think she's a very, very, very similar heifer to the heifer that actually won the last class. For all those things that I say, I mean, you look at whatever angle you look at her, she's a beautiful soft heifer. You can see she's shiny, she's oozing with softness, got plenty of thickness through the back. She carries it all the way down that back leg, like she's just, full of yield and full of muscle and just got the perfect amount of fat coverage. So, I think she's, again, a pretty well, she caught my eye as she came into the ring and, she stood out as far as the class winner. Heifer in second place. Interesting heifer. Again, heifer that's got plenty of meat, plenty of yield. When I first looked at her, I thought she was sort of probably maybe carrying a little bit too much fat, but when I put my hand on her, I don't think she has. I think she's probably just got the right amount. She's going to be definitely on the top end of it, but I think she's she's still got all that meat, all that muscle. Just hasn't probably got the evenness of fat coverage that the heifer on top had, but a heifer that's still got plenty of meat, plenty of yield. The next two heifers were, they're nearly peas in a pod. They're two very, very similar heifers. Again, could have gone either way. They're heifers that have got, plenty of that evenness of coverage, evenness of muscle. Probably just not quite the overall thickness down the hind legs and down through the back that the top two heifers had. But, you can see them walking away there. They're two very, very similar heifers. So, congratulations.
double check the numbers of the heifers you want for later. Is it 14? Sorry.
Come over. 1401, 02, 05 and 08.
Lovely. All right. Thank you so much.
The
We move
Gender
on
View
now to the
Invitational
judging
Bull Sale
of
will offer
our
65
champion
industry-relevant
junior
Limousin
heifer.
and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August
Parade the
15th.
championship,
Semen and
we will have
morphology
catalogue
tested.
numbers 1233, 1305, 1 and 1406. Champion Junior Led Heifer award goes to catalogue number 1407. That's the Limousin Heifer exhibited by Hudson O'Dwyer and D&S Riley. And judging continuing now for the reserve champion. Reserve champion Junior Heifer will go to catalogue number 1233. That's the Speckled Park Heifer exhibited by Mackenzie Black. We'll ask our judge again, Craig Price, to comment on his selections there.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, a magnificent lineup of heifers here. I mean, it's as a judge, it always gives you a fair bit of satisfaction when you can sort of, comes to your championship judging and see such a good lineup of heifers. So, congratulations to all that were involved. Coming down to the champion was two very, very different types of heifers. I've gone with the black heifer here as a champion. Again, I probably need to take back what I said about the peas in a pod with the one in the second class, but she's a beautiful heifer. Like she just and she's got that eye appeal. She's just soft. She's shiny. She's got plenty of muscle through that hind quarter. Every angle you look at her, and I'm sort of concentrating more on that hind quarter. Like she's just thick, sort of all the way through. From front to back. Just got that perfect amount of fat coverage, and I think she'll yield very, very well. They reserve the speckled heifer here again, like beautiful muscled heifer. Like she's got plenty of yield. It's it could have really gone either way when you look at them both standing here together. Like she's probably got a little bit more meat through that hind quarter, but as far as the sort of softness and just that evenness, probably didn't quite have it that the heifer that I gave champion had. But two very, very, very good heifers all the same. So again, congratulations to not only the exhibitors but the breeders of these fine animals. Thank you.
After the photo opportunity, we'll go on to the first of our junior lead steer classes. That's class 16. Lead steer weighing between 375 and 400 kilograms. 3 entries in the class.
The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated. A bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry
A reminder once again, dress requirements, dust coat or breed uniform. No schools uniforms or stud uniforms. Just a dust coat or school uniform to be worn during the judging. Just a reminder that Stock Live are covering the judging here at the Brisbane exhibition, the Royal National. Every breed and every day, right throughout the show. Place getters in these classes, they would require to get a photo of you as you go out of the ring. If we can just do it up in that top corner, just outside the ring, a photo of the place getters of each of these classes. Result of Class 17, junior lead steer weighing between 401 and 445 kilograms. First place goes to catalogue number 1701, a Murray Grey Cross exhibited by Holy Trinity School. Second to catalogue number 1711, a Limousine exhibited by Poppy Lanny and Archie Evans. Third to catalogue number 1713, a Speckle Park Cross exhibited by Marley Pintier. Fourth to catalogue number 1702, a Limousine exhibited by Scott's All Saints College. Fifth to catalogue number 1709, a Limousine exhibited by the Boona State High School. Sixth to catalogue number 1712, a Limousine exhibited by Minto Crag Pastoral Company. Sixth, beg your pardon, that was sixth. Seventh to catalogue number 1722, a Limousine exhibited by Abigail MacDonald. Should be on our judge again to comment on that class, our Judge Craig Price.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, look, probably been the hardest class to judge, to be honest. This class, they're a very even lineup of steers. They're sort of, there wasn't probably too much that really jumped out and grabbed my eye as they came into the ring. But in saying that, I think the 7 steers in the front line here all sort of, they do probably pick themselves. I think the grey steer here in first, beautiful steer again. Going on what I've been saying all day is, the muscle, the yield, the thickness, the overall evenness of muscle and fat. I think this steer has got plenty of that. You get him behind him, he's got plenty of meat, plenty of yield, plenty of muscle. So I think he'll do the job nicely. Steer in second, black steer, again, very even steer. Funny steer, you sort of, whichever way you look at him, he sort of sometimes looks a bit different, but I mean, you get him behind him and beside him and you can see the thickness through that hindquarter. So I think he just hasn't quite got the evenness of muscle that the steer on top's got, but I think overall he's sort of a tidy enough steer. The Speckle steer in third, again, lovely, smooth, even steer. Probably just hasn't got that overall thickness through that hind quarter or through the loin that the steers above him's got. But, he's got plenty of bone there. You look at his back legs there, he's got all bone. So, he's a terrific steer. Steer in third, I think, probably the unluckiest steer in the class. He's a steer that I probably did deserve to be up in the top 3. Steer I love, but he just got a slight blemish on his right hip here. He's obviously had a knock of some description, which is a bit of a shame because he's a beautiful carcass and he would have probably been a bit higher up in the standing only for that little bit of a knock and possibility of a little bit of bruising. As we go down here, these 2 black steers again, 2 very different types of steers. They could have gone either way. I nearly swapped them over at one point, but ended up going with them as they stood. The first black steer here, just probably, again, even, got plenty of muscle, just probably carrying a little bit more fat than what you ideally like, but I sort of looked at that overall evenness, from front to back, and he's got plenty of that. The next black steer, again, he's sort of a steer that's got plenty of muscle. Just felt he probably lacked a little bit of that fatness through the back end, but are still tidy enough steer all the same. And down to the limo steer here, again, a very good even steer. He's got plenty of muscle, plenty of fat, just probably not the overall thickness that I'm looking for in these sort of classes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Craig. And from that class, we'll require for the young judges, the inter-schools young judges later on, will require catalogue numbers 1704, 1705, 1707 and 1710. We'll require those 4 steers to be available for that young judges competition. move on now to the last of our junior lead steers. Last class, class 18. Junior lead steer weighing between 446 and 490 kilograms. There are 23 entries in the class. as this is the last of our junior lead steer classes, would require the first two place getters in classes 16 and 17 to be standing by at the marshalling area. Catalogue numbers 1601 and 1701, together with the second place getters 1602 and 1711, if you could be standing by in the marshalling area for the judging of our champion junior lead steer. From this class, we will require the following steers for the junior or the inter-schools young judges later on. We'll require these 4 steers, catalogue numbers 1806, 1807, 1816 and 1817. Those 4 steers required for the inter-schools young judges later on. Result now of Class 18, junior lead steer weighing between 446 and 490 kilograms. First goes to catalogue number 1213, a limousine exhibited by Triple Treat Show Steers. Second to catalogue number 1811, a limousine exhibited by Sam Stenzel. Third to catalogue number 1803, a limousine exhibited by Scott's All Saints College. Fourth to catalogue number 1805, a Speckle Park Cross exhibited by Clairview Charolais. Fifth to catalogue number 1812, a Limousin Cross exhibited by Maverick Kayla. Sixth to catalogue number 1821, a Limousin exhibited by Coldwood Pastoral Company. And seventh to catalogue number 1823, a Limousin exhibited by RG Show Steers. We'll ask our judge, Craig Price, to comment on his selections from that class.
Thanks again, Keith. Another hard class to judge. A very even class. Even down the back, there was another 3 or 4 steers I could have brought up into that front line. But in saying that, I think the final 7 I was pretty happy with when I sort of went through and tried to make my placing. So the top 3 steers here are very, very even. I mean, that was sort of my battle, is probably picking the first, second, third, because these 3 steers all very, very similar types. They're all got plenty of muscle, plenty of meat down the back legs, and all that evenness of muscle and fat cover that I've been talking about. In the end, I've gone for this red steer here. I think, again, every time I kept looking at him, he just caught my eye. I think just that overall evenness, he's got plenty of meat right down through that hind quarter. You look, he's as wide as anything through the back and carries himself very, very well. So I think in the end, I was pretty happy to put him up. Taking nothing away from the next 2 steers, again, 2 very similar steers, plenty of meat, plenty of yield, plenty of thickness. I suppose just on the day, just a little bit unlucky. They could have been placed differently by another judge. But, again, I just sort of, probably felt they didn't have that evenness of muscling that probably the top steer had. But they're still 2 very, very good steers. I mean, the third steer, again, you look at him stand there, he's got plenty of meat through the back, probably just let him down a little bit through the loin area, but still just didn't have that quite evenness. The speckled steer in fourth, again, I talk about evenness and consistent. I mean, that steer's got everything as far as consistency. He's just, you look at him front to back, he's the same width from the front to the back. He's very, very even, but he just hasn't got that overall thickness, particularly through the hind quarter that the steers above him had, but still a very nice, well put together steer. The next black steer here, again, you talk about eye appeal. I mean, this steer, again, he's sort of, got that shiny coat. He's soft as anything. He's got plenty of thickness and plenty of meat. Just probably a little bit inconsistent as far as his cover, particularly through the back there, but a steer that still caught my eye. The 2 reds down here in 6th and 7th, again, 2 very, very similar steers. Probably just not the overall evenness that I'm looking for. They've got plenty of meat, plenty of yield, but they're just a little bit, not the exact evenness of fat cover, particularly that the steers above him had. So thank you.
Our champion junior lead steer. So at a parade for championship, we will have catalogue numbers 1601, 1701 and 1813. And the second place getters to those 3 steers will parade also in case they so that they're on hand in the event that they're required for reserve championship judging. That'll be catalogue numbers 1602, 1711 and 1811.
The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational
junior led steer. Our champion junior lead steer is catalogue number 1813, a limousine exhibited by Triple Treat Show Steers. Judging continuing for the Reserve Championship. Reserve champion junior lead steer is catalogue number 1701, the Murray Grey Cross exhibited by Holy Trinity School. If we have got a representative of St John's College here to help us present this perpetual trophy, the champion junior lead steer. We'll ask our judge. Turn it on, works better when you turn it on, Keith. We'll ask our judge Craig Price to comment on his selection for our champion and reserve champion.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Again, like a great lineup of champions here. I've gone for the red steer that won that sort of third class. He's a steer that, he just, every time I sort of look at him from behind and from the side, he's just, when he's standing square, he's got plenty of thickness and meat through that hind quarter, and he's a steer that's going to yield very, very well. He's got everything that we're looking for as far as fat coverage, everything we've got as far as meat yield. So, I think he's he'll hang up very, very well. The reserve, the grey steer, again, great steer, plenty of meat, plenty of yield. The only thing, like meat yield he's got, but he probably just hasn't got a lot of that live to dead. He's just carrying a little bit under his belly there. So, when it came down to it, I sort of felt that the red steer to get the champion, was the overall sort of, better yielding animal. But still, he's a beautiful, soft animal. He's got plenty of meat. But I think the red steer in the days deserve a champion. So, congratulations.
No, apparently not. I've called them a couple of times. I haven't come forward. After all the photo opportunities and so on, we'll be moving on to our Interschools Young Judges competition. The teams for the young judges, one team per school, And if we can have one representative from each of those teams come up to the tent to receive your cards, your judges' cards. One representative from each school. And I think one school had about 5 or 6 teams nominated, but you're only allowed one team per school. So if we can have a representative from each of those schools who have nominated the team, if you can come up and receive your cards, your judges' cards.
The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent.